Some leaders are known for their scandals, whether in their private lives or in government, while others oppress entire nations with their cruel regimes. But as well as being scandalous and cruel, some are simply bizarre. Today, Bello Mundo will take you to see the strangest things these presidents have ever done. From superhero cannibalism to teaching a horse to drink beer. Stay with us, because the last one will surprise and, of course, horrify you. Number 1. Pierre Nkurunziza. To open our list of the world's craziest presidents, we go straight to the heart of East Africa, in one of the poorest countries on the planet, Burundi. Known for its political and economic instability, Burundi was also home to a president who mixed politics and soccer in a very peculiar way. Pierre Nkurunziza, a former president and a true soccer fan, took this passion to stratospheric levels. He was not only the head of state, but also the star of his own team, Hallelujah FC. Now imagine playing with the president who, as well as being your boss, is a bit crazy. It wasn't easy at all. To avoid problems, the players in his team passed the ball to him as quickly as possible. And the opposition? Well, no one who wanted to stay free dared to make fouls. But there was one game that marked his career. During a match against a local team, some players who didn't know he was the president played normally. Fouls, pushing, and Nkurunziza went down several times. What was his reaction? He had the two officials in charge of the game arrested, accusing them of conspiracy, simply because they had allowed the players to dare to knock him down so many times. If that's not madness in power, I don't know what is. Number 2. Jong Il. Our second madman on the list is Jong Il, the former leader of North Korea, who not only ran one of the most closed and rigid regimes in the world, but was also completely obsessed with movies. And when we say obsessed, we're not exaggerating. Kim had a personal collection of over 30,000 films. However, just watching movies wasn't enough for him. Kim wanted North Korea to have its own cinematic masterpieces. But there was a problem. He didn't think North Korean filmmakers were creative enough. What was the solution in his mind? Simple, for him, of course. Kidnap one of South Korea's greatest directors. In 1978, Kim ordered the kidnapping of South Korean director Shin Sang-ok and his ex-wife, actress Choi Eun-hee. For years, the couple worked under the dictator, producing several films, including the epic Pulgasari, a sort of North Korean version of Godzilla. But that's not the only bizarre thing. His official biography claimed that he controlled the weather with the power of his mind, as well as claiming that he never had to urinate or defecate throughout his life. Number 3. Yano Cuadros. Continuing our journey, we now head to Brazil, the tropical paradise, full of beaches and scorching sun practically all year round. In 1961, a president as eccentric as he was unpredictable emerged, Yano Cuadros. In his short 7-month term, Yano made decisions that left the country perplexed. One of them, the controversial ban on wearing bikinis on public beaches and swimming pools. Cuadros, known for his conservative moralism, saw the bikini as a threat to good customs. Without hesitation, he officially decreed a ban on the garment, which is now a Brazilian icon. The idea was to impose a standard of morality, but, as expected, the reaction was completely the opposite. Women ignored the rule, and the decree became a laughingstock. He even set up enforcement teams to ensure that the law was complied with. But with Brazil's huge coastline, the measure was ineffective. Yano Cuadros certainly knew how to attract attention, whether through his eccentric decrees or his sudden resignation, claiming he was being pressured by occult forces. Number 4. Nicolas Maduro. And since we're in South America, let's take a look at suffering Venezuela, a country often in the headlines for its crisis and, of course, its controversial ruler. Our fourth madman on the list is Nicolas Maduro. Despite being known worldwide for his authoritarianism, Maduro sees himself quite differently. It sounds like a lie, but he created Super Mustache, a superhero inspired by himself, with powers derived from his iconic mustache. And if you think the bizarreness has stopped there, get ready. Super Bigot isn't just a bizarre character, he's a walking excuse for all the country's problems. When Venezuela faces electricity blackouts, Maduro blames a mechanical mole that Super Bigot must defeat. When there's a shortage of vaccines, it's the fault of a monster created by the CIA, which only the mustachioed hero can tackle. The character is everywhere, on baseball caps, t-shirts, graffiti, and official murals in Caracas and other cities. And the dictator is not alone. His wife, Celia, has also been transformed into a heroine who has been christened Celita, and the couple's dolls are distributed together to children. And as if all this wasn't enough, in 2021, as well as creating his own hero, Maduro decided to bring Christmas forward to November, as if this would alleviate the crisis that was devastating the country. While the people were facing hunger and hardship, he preferred to spend money creating hero dolls and organizing an early celebration. Number 5. Mao Zedong. Leaving the Americas, let's cross oceans to China, where another dictator, Mao Zedong, made a decision that has gone down in history as one of the most disastrous. In 1958, Mao began the Four Pests campaign, which aimed to eradicate pests such as mosquitoes, rats, flies, and sparrows. He believed that sparrows ate large quantities of grain, damaging crops, and ordered the entire population to exterminate them. The people beat drums, destroyed nests, and prevented the birds from resting, leading millions to die of exhaustion. But then came the irony. In eliminating the sparrows, Mao didn't foresee that they also ate insects, such as locusts, which devastated the crops. Without the sparrows, the locusts multiplied, causing an ecological catastrophe. The result? The Great Chinese Famine of 1960, which killed between 15 and 55 million people. To try and rectify the disaster, China had to import sparrows from the Soviet Union, but unfortunately, the damage had already been done. Number 6. Mariano Melgarejo. Now our list of crazies goes to Bolivia, where General Mariano Melgarejo left a legacy of absurdities and eccentric behavior that, to this day, seems unbelievable. His rule was marked by incidents as bizarre as they were diplomatic. One of the most notorious stories involves a British ambassador. It is said that Melgarejo, in an act of total diplomatic disrespect, forced the diplomat to drink a bowl full of cocoa until he vomited. And, as if that wasn't enough, he even tied the ambassador to a donkey and made him parade through the streets, creating an embarrassing diplomatic incident. When she heard about this, Queen Victoria was reportedly furious and said she wanted to bomb the Bolivian capital. When informed that the city was far from the coast, she sent for a map, crossing out Bolivia and declaring that the country no longer existed for the United Kingdom. And Melgarejo's eccentricity didn't stop there. Another surreal story involves his favorite horse, Franois, who, according to reports, was taught to drink beer and had the peculiar talent of urinating on people, in a bad joke sponsored by the president himself. Number 7. Muamar Gaddafi. We now move on to Libya, where Muammar Gaddafi, one of the most eccentric dictators of the 20th century, not only left his mark on politics with his brutal decisions, but also on the world of fashion and peculiar behavior. Among his many follies, he wrote a book containing his thoughts on various topics, such as politics, economics, and even rather questionable views on gender. In one of his literary pearls, he claimed that women were inferior to men because of menstruation and pregnancy. Here's an excerpt to prove it. Woman is a female. According to gynecologists, woman menstruates or is sick every month, while man, being male, is not subjected to this bleeding. Surreal, right? But if you think that's all, there's more. During the 1970s, Gaddafi was known for demanding that his bodyguards be exclusively virgin women, highly trained in martial arts. The group, known as Gaddafi's Amazons, accompanied him everywhere, ensuring that his personal army was always present. In 2011, when his fortress in Tripoli was overrun by rebels, curious items were found, including a photo album dedicated to Condoleezza Rice, the former U.S. Secretary of State. He had a kind of fascination with her, as well as movie posters such as Prince of Persia and even gay pornography files. One of Gaddafi's most iconic features was his famous Bedouin tent, which he made a point of setting up in any country he visited. Whether in Paris, Rome, or even New York, he preferred to stay in his giant tent, claiming it was to maintain his nomadic roots. On some occasions, this tent was so large that it needed a separate plane just to be transported. In addition to his logistical eccentricities, Gaddafi was also known for his unique fashion style. Here, for example, he appears in a military uniform that, frankly, looks like it was designed by a Hollywood stylist. Full of medals, which he probably gave to himself, he combines it with sunglasses for a touch of dictatorial Top Gun. Number 8. Saparmurat Niyazov. Leaving the world of virgin security guards, giant tents, and questionable fashion, our next destination is Turkmenistan. Known for the famous Gate of Hell, a gas crater that has been burning since 1971, it seems that a leader has also emerged from the depths, Saparmurat Niyazov. And this one has more bizarre things than we can fit into a single video. Among his many follies, Niyazov decided that Turkmenistan's calendar was no match for his greatness. In 2002, he had the audacity to rename the months of the year and the days of the week, naming them after himself and his family. January, for example, became Turkmenbashi, in his honor, of course, and April became Gurban Sultan, in honor of his mother. Not even the days of the week escaped. Friday became Mother's Day, while Tuesday became Youth Day and Thursday Justice Day. But, as you might expect, his delirium of grandeur didn't stop there. Niyazov wrote Ruhnama, a book that mixed philosophy, memoirs, and advice, or orders to be more precise, and forced all citizens to read it. The book became compulsory reading in schools, and anyone who wanted to get a driver's license or a government job had to pass an exam on it. He basically turned his literary delirium into law. And if you think that's it, there's more. He built gilded statues of himself all over the country, including a 12-meter one that rotated all day to face the sun. To top it off, he also banned ballet, opera, and even the use of gold teeth. Perhaps the last was a fear of running out of gold and not having any more for his statues. Who knows? Number 9. Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov. Still in Turkmenistan, our festival of madness continues. Now let's talk about Niyazov's successor, another eccentric leader who, like his predecessor, seems to have come straight out of the famous Gate of Hell. His name? Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov. He revoked the decrees of the former leader and seemed to want to put an end to the cult of personality. But it soon became clear that the plan was only to replace Niyazov's cult with his own, and that included his own golden statue. What's more, he also liked to show off. He produced videos of himself demonstrating his skills in car races, physical exercises, and even musical performances. Yes, the president was also a singer. His music videos, in which he appears playing the guitar or singing rap, went viral and obviously became memes. Another peculiarity: the banning of black cars in 2014. Without any warning, he banned black cars in the capital, Ashgabat, forcing owners to paint their vehicles white or silver, as he considered white to be a symbol of luck. His obsession with white is also present in architecture. Ashgabat is famous for having the highest concentration of white marble buildings in the world, and so he ensured that his era did not lag behind in the show of bizarreness. Number 10. François Duvalier, Papa Doc. Our 10th madman on the list is François Duvalier, better known as Papa Doc, the Haitian tyrant who ruled with a mixture of voodoo, paranoia, and terror. Papa Doc was a great believer and manipulator of voodoo, calling himself the reincarnation of the spirit Baron Samedi, the Loa spirit of death in Haitian voodoo. He often appeared in public wearing black clothes and sunglasses, imitating the look of the spirit, which increased his aura of fear among the population. Papa Doc's madness didn't stop there. In one notorious episode, he ordered the killing of all the black dogs in Port-au-Prince because he believed that one of his political rivals had turned into a dog to escape him. But perhaps most bizarrely, Duvalier claimed to have used voodoo to kill U.S. President John F. Kennedy. When Kennedy was assassinated, Papa Doc claimed that it was he who carried out the act through a voodoo ritual in retaliation for the United States' diminishing support for Haiti. In addition to these stories, he even created a version of the Lord's Prayer, in which Haitians were supposed to worship him as a divine figure. Number 11. Idi Amin. Leaving Haiti, we come to Uganda to talk about Idi Amin, the eccentric and cruel former president who ruled with megalomania and a good dose of bizarre behavior. One of the most surreal episodes of his rule was the change of his official title to something that sounds more like a joke. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin Dada, Lord of all the animals of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general and Uganda in particular. And it didn't stop there. Amin even wrote a letter to Queen Elizabeth II, suggesting that she visit him to meet a real man. As if that wasn't enough, after breaking off relations with the UK, he proclaimed himself King of Scotland, showing that Idi Amin's imagination knew no bounds. Another horrific and disturbing aspect of the dictator was his alleged cannibalism. Amin is reported to have consumed the flesh of his political opponents, adding another macabre level to his already terrible reputation. A real circus of horrors. Number 12. Yahya Jame. And to finish our list of horrors and madness, we come to the eccentric Yahya Jame, the former president of the Gambia, who ruled for 22 long years. Jame stood out on the world stage for his absurd promises, including the shocking claim that he could cure AIDS with a home remedy made from herbs. He even went so far as to claim that he had received a divine mandate to carry out this supposed cure. In 2007, Jame launched an alternative program that forced thousands of HIV patients to abandon proven medical treatments to follow his miraculous herbal cure. What was supposed to be a medical treatment turned into a real nightmare. Patients were displayed on state television as if they were trophies, while many suffered abuse and humiliation in the process. And as if that wasn't crazy enough, Jame didn't stop there. He also claimed to be able to cure asthma, infertility, and even hypertension, turning his regime into a veritable spectacle of absurdity. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss our next videos, and leave a comment on what you thought of our crazy list. To those of you who have watched this far, thank you very much, and see you next time.